Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day you're watching this broadcast. This is Dr. Eric Tangumonkem with IEM Approach, where we inspire, equip, and motivate people to discover God's great potential in them, develop that potential, and deploy it. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to this broadcast. And I will plead with you, if you can, share this broadcast with your friends, invite them to join us, and together we are going to learn and grow. If you're listening through the IEM Approach podcast, I want to encourage you to share it as well. And if you have any questions, the number to reach us is 214-908-3963. When you call that number, you will be talking to me directly. Some of the topics I've introduced. You may need personal 101 coaching or mentorship. That too is available. I want us to have that conversation. My goal, my desire is for you to succeed, is for you to do well. It's very important for you to avoid making the mistakes of those that have gone ahead of you. You are going to make your own mistakes. However, it's not being smart if you repeat mistakes that other people have made that have been documented that you can learn from. We are talking about the 52 different strategies that will position any immigrant anywhere to excel, to do well. If you have migrated, you already have the desire in you to succeed. You have the desire in you to do well. That is why you moved from point A to point B. Don't settle down for less. What drove you? As I've said, it might have been persecution. You ran because of self-preservation. You want to do well. Or maybe you're looking for better economic opportunities. Whatever moved you to migrate is tied to your desire to do well. And that is why I want to come alongside you and help you with what it's going to take for you to do well. Today, we are going to be talking about taking ownership of your story. It's very, very important that you understand what it means to take ownership of your story. We are living in the information age, but it doesn't mean that everybody is informed. I'm going to say that again because it is tied to the reason why you and only you alone is responsible of your story, of the narrative that you want the world to hear, to know about you. You need to take ownership of your story. Where are you from? What have you been through? Why are you here? Where are you going? Those are the different components of your story, and you must harness, organize, and take ownership of that story. Taking ownership of your story is that you come to the realization that you are who you are, and you embrace it, irrespective of where you were born, who gave birth to you, and what you have been through. It's important for you to embrace every aspect of your life. There are many things that you have zero control over, but these things are part of who you are. They are part of your story. And today I'm going to be encouraging you to measure on the things that you can control and minor on those that you don't have any control over. Because if you flip it, it's going to prevent you from succeeding. If you don't want to succeed, you can stop listening. If you want to succeed, you are in the right place. There are aspects of your story that you have zero control over. For example, where you were born, when you were born, who gave birth to you, the color of your skin. You didn't choose any of those things. Therefore, don't highlight them. Don't let them limit you. Don't let them define you. Those are not the things that are going to determine how far you're going to go. There is a lot that is under your control. Focus on those things that you have control over. Those that you don't have any control, don't let other people use it to become a stumbling block that will prevent you from reaching your goals, that will prevent you from growing. And that's why I'm saying that you need to know your story. You need to understand your story. You need to tell your story. Be proud of where you were born. Be proud of what you've been through. Don't try to run away from your story. You need to harness it. You need to take ownership. There are many reasons why you have to do this. And before we touch on them, or some of them, I want to add a few things to why this particular issue is being discussed today. You are an immigrant. You've moved maybe into a new community or in a different country. And the people that we are meeting for the first time, they have stereotypes. They have misinformation about where you're coming from, about who you are. And it is left up to you to educate and correct some of these stereotypes and misinformation. If you don't take ownership of that story, if you don't tell your story, then those distortions and misinformation is going to continue. Take, for example, when I just came to the United States, I met a particular individual who asked me, "Do you people have houses in Cameroon?" It occurred to me that this particular individual needed some help. They needed information that they were not, because they should have known better that in Cameroon, we have the United States Embassy there. And if we don't have houses in Cameroon and we're living on trees, it means that the US ambassador in Cameroon is definitely maybe living on one of the biggest trees in the country. I didn't go down the rabbit hole to blame this individual, to get mad, to get offended. I had to tell my story. I had to educate them. I had to feed them with information. Not too long ago, uh, somebody came over in our house for us to have dinner. We had our dinner, everything went well. And we started, after dinner, we sat down and we're just having a conversation, learning from one another. And this person asked another question that, out of the blue, I wasn't expecting it, but the question came up, and the person asked me, I've been told that in Africa, I mean, Cameroon, where you're coming from, when you go out on the street, there are lots of monkeys, lions, chickens, and wildlife all over the place. Is that the case? I said, I'm from Cameroon. I've never really seen the lions and the chimpanzees and the monkeys roaming the streets, as you've been told. However, I have something here to show you. I told one of our children to bring my iPad. I just searched the capital of Cameroon, showed this particular individual, and the person was like, whoa, it looks beautiful. Of course, it does. If you still believe that lions and monkeys and giraffes are roaming the streets of the cities in Africa, and it's time for you to wake up, because that is not the case. Instead of blaming this individual, I educated them. If they knew better, they would have acted better. And that is why you must take ownership of your story. When I was a kid, my dad always said that if a madman grabs your clothes and is running away, don't become a madman. Now, let me explain for you to understand what I'm trying to say. When I was a kid, to take a bath, you go to the stream, you go to the river. We're not having indoor plumbing then. You take off your clothes and put them on the river bank, and you jump into the pool, and you take a bath. And it's not, some of the people that are having mental problems at times, they roam the street. So if the mad person comes to the stream, picks up your clothes, and is running away, you who is sane, you who is in your right senses, it's incumbent on you to look for another set of clothes and cover your nakedness before you chase the madman. If instead you decide to run behind the madman without your clothes on, and the madman is having clothes on, you have become the madman because you're running around naked. Take ownership of your story. Be proud of your story. If you don't control the narrative, you are going to move around and start suffering from confirmation bias because people are having stereotypes about you. They expect you to act and speak and carry yourself in a particular way. Don't let that happen. When you take ownership of your story, when you tell your story, you are going to control the narrative. You're going to be in charge. You'll be like the person whose clothes were snatched by a madman. Instead of running behind the madman, you looked for a different set of clothes and put them on before you try to recoup that which has been taken from you. And that is why you must take ownership of your story. When I just came to the United States, along the line, a lot of people, they started asking this particular question. Where are you from? When I meet everybody, they'll ask, where are you from? Why did you come to the United States? Why Dallas precisely? And so I decided to write the book, Coming to America, A Journey of Faith. And in it, I catalog where I'm coming from, why the United States, why Dallas in particular. We're going to be talking about you writing a book, but I want you to start thinking about your story and where you've been through. Here, this is still part of the story from a Cameroonian to a American citizen, a journey of faith. Our stories are very important. When you understand your story, when you embrace your story, in your story are hidden tools and resources that you're going to need to move to the next level. All what you've been through right up to this particular moment has prepared you for the next step. However, if you don't take ownership of that story, you are not going to be able to move to the next step. When you take the time to evaluate your story, to look at who you are, where you're coming from, where you're going, you will realize that in your story are hidden gems that you can use to improve. The next environment that you've moved to, or the next country that you've moved into, it's very important for you to understand what you've been through, and that is going to ignite in you the passion to do something that is going to help elevate your new country. I wrote this book, Racism, Where is Your Sting? A provocative look at the beginning and the end of racism, because I realized that racism is not a uniquely it's not an American problem. Racism is not. I wasn't raised in the United States. I was raised in a pluralistic, highly diversified environment, and I saw the manifestation of superiority and inferiority complex amongst people. And some just assume that because everybody's having the same skin color, like in Africa, they just get along. It's not true. It is not. And that is why I realized that for America to get out of this quagmire of racism, they have to realize it is a universal problem. Anywhere you have human beings living and interacting with each other, they are going to be issues of not treating each other right. And I brought this experience from outside, and I'm trying to address this issue that we are facing right now. This broadcast is not about racism. We are going to get into that along the line. What I'm saying is that when you take ownership of your story, when you are excited about who you are, about what you've been through, you will be able to find in there opportunities to contribute, to make a difference in the life of the country. Now, some of us are saying, oh, my story is mundane. Nobody really cares about it. Nobody knows me. It doesn't really matter. I hear all that. However, you have to know that the power in the story is not in the drama of the story. It is in the telling of the story. You need to understand that all of us, if you're an immigrant, you have a powerful story. I don't want you to neglect the story. I don't want you to minimize your story. The other reason why you must take ownership of your story, you must share that story, is because of the inspiration that your story brings to other people. Stories are so powerful. Please don't bury that story. There is a reason why you went through everything you've been through. There is a reason why you fled from your country and moved to this country. There is a reason why you've been pushing the envelope, looking for more, wanting to be more, wanting to grow. Don't sit on it. Share your story. It's going to inspire other people. People are looking for something authentic. That is why you don't embellish the story. You tell it the way it is. It's going to help many other people. The other reason you take ownership of your story, as I've already mentioned, is that in your story, you have tools and resources that are going to help you move to the next level. You've been prepared for this moment. You really have. That is why you are here. You are needed. This country needs you. That's why you showed up. And everything you've been through has been preparing you for this moment. You need to tell your story. We are having an obesity epidemic. But you were raised eating different types of foods. It's time for you to bring that menu on the table and share it with other people and help the country heal and help the country move forward. And lastly, don't run away from your past. Don't run away from what you've been through. You need to process it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If not, your past is going to hold you down. You might have run away or moved from one country to the other, but you've not been able to process what you've been through and channel the energy in a positive direction. It's very important for you to understand your story and that all what you've been going through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, has been preparing you for the assignment that you have right now. When you have closure with your past, when you are at peace with your past, you'll be able to step onto the next step. Take ownership of your story. Don't be ashamed of it. Nobody can tell your story better than you. You earn it. It's your story. It's who you are. I want you to be proud of it and share it. You've been listening to Dr. Eric Tangumonkem with IEM Approach, where we inspire, equip, and motivate people to discover God's great potential in them, develop that potential, and deploy it. And lastly, I almost forgot this. For you immigrants who are trying to bridge the gap, especially those of you that have children and you want to bridge the gap between where you're coming from and where you're going, you're trying to connect the dots with your kids, you have to tell that story. You have to document that story. We're going to talk about writing the book in one of the broadcasts. But right now, I want you to know that you have a powerful story that will impact. not just your new country, but your kids and the future generation. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.